Welcome to Real English Voices. I am Tom.
And I am Ria. Hello, everyone. We are so happy to have you here with us today for another conversation.
Today, Ria, I have a confession to make. I think I need to be honest with you and with all our listeners right from the start.
Oh, wow. That sounds serious, Tom. A confession? You haven't stopped learning English, have you?
No, nothing like that. It is actually about my personality. Or maybe it is about my habits. I saw a phrase online the other day, and it hit me so hard. It felt like someone had looked inside my brain and written down exactly who I am.
Okay, now I am really curious. What was the phrase?
The phrase was, I am ambitious but lazy.
I am ambitious, but lazy. Oh, Tom. I think you just described half the population of the world. That is such a powerful contradiction.
It is a contradiction, right? But it is exactly how I feel. And I know so many of our listeners feel this way too, especially when it comes to learning English. We have these huge dreams. I want to speak fluently. I want to get that promotion. I want to travel the world and talk to everyone. The ambition is there. The fire is there. But then I look at my textbooks or I look at my vocabulary list and I just want to lie on the couch and watch funny cat videos. The ambition is high, but the energy to execute that ambition feels so low. It is a terrible struggle, Ria. It makes you feel guilty all the time.
I hear you, Tom. I really do. That guilt is a heavy thing to carry. You know, I think this is one of the biggest silent killers of progress for English learners. It isn't that they aren't smart. It isn't that they don't have resources. It is the specific psychological trap. You want the result so badly, but the process feels like climbing a mountain while wearing heavy boots.
Yes, that is the perfect metaphor. Climbing a mountain in heavy boots. And the worst part is, because you're ambitious, you beat yourself up. If I didn't care, I wouldn't feel bad about being lazy. But because I care so much, the laziness feels like a crime. So today, Ria, I want us to really dig into this. I want to figure out why this happens and how we can trick our brains into working even when we feel lazy.
I love this topic. I think we need to start by redefining what we mean by lazy. Because honestly, Tom, I don't think you are lazy. I have seen you work. I have seen you prepare for these podcasts. I think lazy is just a label we stick on ourselves when we're actually feeling something else.
That is interesting. If it isn't laziness, what is it? Because it feels a lot like I am just refusing to move.
Think about it. When you're sitting there looking at your English books and you choose to scroll through your phone instead, what are you actually feeling? Are you relaxed? Or are you feeling a low-level anxiety?
It's definitely anxiety. It's this overwhelming feeling of, oh my goodness, there is so much to learn. I look at the grammar book and I see thousands of rules. I look at a movie in English and I realize I don't understand half the slang. It feels so big that I just freeze.
Exactly. That is not laziness, Tom. That is overwhelm. That is paralysis. When the task feels too big, our brains naturally want to protect us from stress. So your brain says, hey, looking at that textbook hurts. Watching this video of a dog riding a skateboard feels safe. Let's do the safe thing. It's a defense mechanism.
So you're saying my laziness is actually my brain trying to protect me?
In a way, yes. It's fear. It's the fear that even if you try, you might fail, Or it's the fear that the journey is just too long. When you say, I'm ambitious, you're looking at the top of the mountain. When you say, I'm lazy, you're looking at your feet and realizing you're tired. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is what creates that paralyzed feeling.
That makes a lot of sense. It explains why I can spend hours doing something easy, like organizing my desk, but I cannot spend 10 minutes practicing speaking. Organizing the desk is easy. I know I can succeed. Speaking feels risky. I might make a mistake. I might sound stupid.
Precisely. Perfectionism is the best friend of procrastination. Ambitious people are usually perfectionists. They have high standards. They imagine themselves speaking perfect English, sounding just like a native speaker. But the reality of practicing is messy. It's full of mistakes and awkward pauses. Because the reality doesn't match the ambitious dream, you avoid doing the work.
Wow, you are really exposing me today, Ria. That hits close to home. So we have this conflict. We have the ambition, let's call him Mr. Ambition, who wants to conquer the world, and we have the laziness, let's call him Mr. Comfort, who wants to stay safe. How do we get them to work together? Because I cannot just stop being ambitious.
No, and you shouldn't. Your ambition is your fuel. But you need to change how Mr. Ambition talks to Mr. Comfort. Usually, ambition is screaming, you need to study for 2 hours. You need to memorize 50 words today. You are behind schedule. And naturally, Mr. Comfort shuts down.
That is exactly what happens in my head. It is a lot of yelling.
We need to lower the stakes. If you are feeling lazy, it usually means the step you are trying to take is too big. You need to make the step so small, so ridiculously easy, that your lazy side cannot say no.
Give me an example. Let's say I want to improve my listening skills. My ambition says, listen to an hour-long podcast about economics. My laziness says, no way, let's sleep.
Okay, so the compromise is listen for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. Tell yourself, I am only going to listen to the intro of the podcast. After that, I can turn it off if I want to.
But does that actually work? Because my ambition immediately says, 2 minutes is useless. You will never become fluent listening for 2 minutes.
That is the trap. 2 minutes is infinitely better than 0 minutes. But here is the magic trick, Tom. Usually, the hardest part of any task is just starting. It is the friction of beginning. Once you hit play and listen for 2 minutes, you will usually find that it is not that bad. You might listen for 5, maybe 10. But you have to give yourself permission to stop after 2. You have to trick your brain.
I like that. It's like sneaking up on the work. You don't announce, I am going to work hard now. You just whisper, I am just going to do this tiny thing.
Exactly. It's about building momentum. Ambitious people often think in all or nothing terms. If I cannot do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. We need to embrace the concept of the imperative imperfect. Just doing something poorly is better than doing nothing perfectly.
Imperative imperfect. I like that. It sounds very sophisticated. But practically, how do we apply this to our daily lives? Let's talk about the environment, because I feel like my environment often encourages my laziness.
Oh, absolutely. If your phone is in your hand and your English book is in another room under a pile of laundry, which one are you going to choose?
The phone. Every single time.
Right. So you have to design your life to be lazier than your laziness. You have to make doing the right thing easier than doing the wrong thing, or make the wrong thing harder.
Make the wrong thing harder. Okay, so for me, the wrong thing is usually scrolling through social media when I should be practicing vocabulary.
So put your phone in a drawer in the kitchen. Put it on silent. If you want to check it, you have to physically get up, walk to the kitchen, and open the drawer. That adds friction. Meanwhile, put your vocabulary notebook right on the coffee table, open, with a pen on top of it.
So I'm literally tripping over my English studies.
Yes, you want to lower the activation energy for the good habits. I remember when I was learning Spanish, I put Post-it notes on my bathroom mirror. While I was brushing my teeth, I was lazy. I was just standing there, so I would just read the words because they were right in front of my face. I didn't have to start studying. I was just looking.
That is genius. It is capitalizing on the dead time. You know, I think another part of this ambitious but lazy problem is energy management. Sometimes we're not lazy, we're just exhausted. Modern life is tiring, Ria. We work, we have families, we have stress. By the time we get to our English practice, our battery's at 5%.
That is such a valid point, Tom. We cannot ignore biology. Your brain uses a huge amount of glucose. Learning a language is cognitive heavy lifting. If you try to force yourself to study complex grammar at 10 p.m. after a long day at work, you are setting yourself up for failure. And then you label yourself lazy, but really you are just depleted.
So what's the solution there? We still have to learn, even if we're tired.
You have to match the activity to your energy level. If you have high energy, maybe on a Saturday morning, that's when you do the hard stuff. Grammar drills, writing essays, intensive listening. But if it's Tuesday night and you're exhausted, don't try to climb the mountain. Just walk around the base. Watch a TV show in English with subtitles. Listen to a song. Chat with a friend. Do something passive and enjoyable.
I think that's where a lot of us go wrong. We think every study session has to be intense. We think if we're not suffering, we're not learning.
Yes, that's the no pain, no gain mentality. And it's toxic for long-term learning. Language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. If you sprint every day, you will burn out. And burnout looks a lot like laziness. You just stop caring because it hurts so much.
I want to talk about the emotional side of this again, the shame, because I think that is what keeps people stuck in the lazy cycle. You plan to study, you don't study, you feel guilty, you feel like a failure, so the next day you feel even worse, so you avoid studying again to avoid the bad feelings. It is a downward spiral.
It is a vicious cycle, and the only way to break it is with self-compassion. I know that sounds soft, but it is true. You have to forgive yourself for yesterday. Okay, so you didn't study yesterday. You watched 3 hours of reality TV. It happened. It is over. Beating yourself up today won't change yesterday. It will just drain the energy you need for today.
That is really hard to do, though. We are conditioned to be hard on ourselves. We think that if we are nice to ourselves, we will become even lazier. We think the guilt is what keeps us moving.
But does it? Does the guilt actually make you work harder, or does it just make you miserable? Research actually shows that people who forgive themselves for procrastination are more likely to get back to work faster than people who punish themselves.
Really? That is counterintuitive.
Think about it like a friend. If your friend came to you and said, "Tom, I wanted to study, but I was too tired," would you scream at them? Would you say, "You are lazy and you will never succeed"?
Of course not. I would say, it's okay, don't worry, try again tomorrow.
Exactly. But we talk to ourselves in a way we would never talk to a friend. We need to be our own supportive coach, not our own abusive drill sergeant. The drill sergeant might get short-term results, but the supportive coach builds long-term consistency.
I really like that image. Being a supportive coach to yourself. Okay, Tom, you watched Netflix for 2 hours. That was a nice break. Now, let's just do 10 minutes of reading before bed. That feels much more manageable.
And you have to remember your why, but not the shallow why, not just, "I want a better job." You need the emotional why. The ambition part of you needs to be connected to something that brings you joy, not just status.
Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure. If your goal is, "I want to speak English perfectly so people don't laugh at me," that is a fear-based goal. It is exhausting. But if your goal is, I want to speak English so I can understand the lyrics of my favorite songs, or so I can make friends when I travel, that is a joy-based goal. Joy gives you energy. Fear takes it away. When you feel lazy, ask yourself, am I trying to do this out of fear or out of love for the process?
That is a beautiful distinction. I think a lot of us lose the love for the language. We treat English like a chore, like doing the dishes. I have to do my English, instead of, I get to explore this new world.
Right. If you treat it like a chore, your brain will resist it like a chore. You have to gamify it. You have to make it fun. If you're ambitious but lazy, use your laziness to find the smartest, most efficient, and most enjoyable ways to learn.
Use the laziness. I like that. Bill Gates once said he chooses a lazy person to do a hard job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it.
Exactly. Be the smart, lazy learner. Don't memorize lists of words you will never use. That is hard work for no reason. Learn the words you actually need for your life. Don't read boring textbooks if you hate them. Read comic books. Read blogs about cooking if you love cooking. That is efficient learning. It satisfies the ambition without triggering the laziness alarm.
I think another practical tip for the ambitious but lazy crowd is accountability. It's very easy to lie to yourself. It's harder to lie to another person.
Oh, definitely. If you and I agree to meet at 5 p.m. to practice speaking, I might feel lazy at 4:30. I might want to cancel, but I won't because I don't want to let you down. Social pressure is a very powerful tool against laziness.
So finding a study partner, or even just telling a friend, hey, ask me tomorrow if I studied, can make a big difference.
Yes, or even posting it on social media. I am going to read 5 pages today. Now you have made a public declaration. Your pride is on the line. It pushes you just enough to overcome the inertia.
Let's talk about the feeling of falling behind. I think a lot of ambitious people feel like they're constantly running out of time. They see other people who started learning later than them but seem to be fluent already. That comparison triggers the I give up response.
Comparison is the thief of joy. We've heard that a million times, but it is true. You see someone's highlight reel. You see them speaking fluently in a video. You don't see the thousands of hours they spent stuttering or the years they spent studying grammar. You compare your inside struggles to their outside success.
It makes you feel like, what is the point? I am already too late.
You are never too late. And you are not on anyone else's timeline. The lazy feeling often comes when we look at the gap between us and others. We need to put blinders on, like a horse in a race. Don't look left, don't look right, just look at your own feet. Did you learn one new word today? Great, you are winning.
One new word? That feels so small for someone who is ambitious.
But if you learn one new word every day, that is 365 words in a year. That is a solid foundation. If you tried to learn 20 words a day, burn out after a week, and quit for 3 months, you have learned nothing. Consistency beats intensity. The turtle beats the rabbit every single time in language learning.
The turtle is the ultimate ambitious but lazy icon. He is slow, he looks like he isn't trying very hard, but he never stops moving.
He keeps moving, and that is the key. You can move slowly, you can crawl, you can even roll on the ground. Just don't stop completely. And if you do stop, don't build a house there. Get up and start moving again.
I think we also need to address the physical aspect of laziness. Sometimes we just need to move our bodies to wake up our brains. If I'm sitting on the couch feeling lazy about studying, sometimes the answer isn't to force my brain to work, but to force my body to move.
Yes, change your state. Stand up, do 5 jumping jacks, walk outside for 1 minute. When you change your physiology, you change your psychology. It is very hard to feel lazy and depressed when you are walking briskly or stretching.
I have started doing this thing where I listen to English podcasts while I walk. It's the perfect combination. My body is moving, so I don't feel stagnant, and I am learning, so I satisfy my ambition, and it doesn't feel like studying because I'm just taking a walk.
That is habit stacking. You are taking a habit you already do, walking, and stacking a new habit on top of it, listening. It removes the decision fatigue. You don't have to decide to study. It just happens automatically when you walk.
Decision fatigue. That is another big one. We spend so much energy deciding what to study, how to study, when to study. By the time we decide, we're too tired to actually do it.
So true. That is why planning the night before is so helpful. Before you go to sleep, just leave the book open on the right page. Decide exactly what video you will watch. When you wake up, you don't have to think. You just execute. You remove the burden of choice.
Ria, as we are talking, I'm realizing that being ambitious but lazy might actually be a superpower if we manage it right.
How so?
Well, ambitious people have the vision, lazy people want efficiency. If you combine them, you become a person who finds the most direct path to the vision. You cut out the fluff, you focus on what matters, you don't waste time on things that don't bring results.
I love that perspective shift. You are not flawed. You are just optimized for efficiency. You just need to make sure you are actually moving forward, not just planning to move forward.
Exactly. It's about being an active lazy person, not a passive lazy person. Active lazy means automating things, doing small chunks, using dead time. Passive lazy means just giving up.
I think our listeners should embrace this identity. Don't fight it, admit it. I am ambitious but lazy. Okay, now what are you going to do about it? How are you going to hack your own system?
I want to ask you, Ria, what is your go-to trick when you're having a really lazy day, but you know you need to get something done?
My go-to trick is the timer method. I tell myself I will set the timer for 15 minutes. I will work for 15 minutes. When the timer goes off, I'm allowed to stop and eat chocolate.
Chocolate is a strong motivator.
The strongest. But usually when the timer goes off, I'm in the flow. I don't want to stop. But knowing that the end is near, knowing that there is a limit, makes it easier to start. It's not an endless marathon of suffering. It's just 15 minutes.
I use something similar called the commercial break method. When I'm watching TV, because let's be honest, I am watching TV, I use the commercial breaks or the time between episodes to do something productive. I review 5 flashcards, I write 1 sentence. It feels free because I was just waiting anyway.
That is brilliant. You are weaving the ambition into the laziness. You are not denying who you are are working with it.
Ria, I feel much better about myself now. I don't feel like a failure. I just feel like a human being who needs to be a little smarter about how I handle my energy.
You are definitely not a failure, Tom. And neither are our listeners. To everyone listening right now, if you have big dreams, but you are currently lying on your bed, listening to this, staring at the ceiling, that is okay. You are listening to English. You are doing it right now. You are feeding your ambition.
That is true. You are learning right now. You are winning.
Take that win. Let it make you feel good. And maybe, just maybe, when this podcast ends, do one small thing. Just one. Open the book. Write one word. Say one sentence out loud.
And then go back to the couch?
If you want to, but I have a feeling you might want to do a little bit more.
I think you are right. The hardest part is the start. Once the wheels are turning, it is easier to keep rolling.
Before we wrap up, I want to share a quote that I love. It is by a writer named James Clear. He says, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems."
Ooh, that is deep. You fall to the level of your systems. So my ambition is the goal, but my laziness is the lack of a system.
Exactly. Your ambition sets the direction, but your system determines your progress. If your system relies on willpower and feeling energetic, it will fail because we are often lazy and tired. If your system is book on the pillow, app on the home screen, study while walking, then you will succeed even when you feel lazy.
So, the takeaway for today is stop relying on willpower, build a system that is lazy-proof.
Yes, build a system that works on your worst days, not just your best days. Anyone can study when they feel motivated and full of caffeine. The winner is the person who studies for 5 minutes when they have a headache and just want to sleep.
That is powerful. Consistency over intensity, systems over willpower, and self-compassion over guilt.
That is the recipe for success for the ambitious but lazy learner.
I feel like I need to go write these down. Or maybe I'll just record a voice note on my phone. That's easier.
See, you're learning already. That is the efficient way.
Well, Ria, this has been an incredibly therapeutic session for me, and I hope for our listeners too. It's nice to know that we aren't alone in this struggle.
We are all in this together. We are all trying to climb that mountain, even if sometimes we just want to take a nap at the base camp.
Thank you so much for your insights, Ria. You always know how to make me feel better about my chaotic brain.
It is my pleasure, Tom. Thank you for being honest. Vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Real English Voices. Remember, you are ambitious, and it's okay to be a little lazy. Just don't let the laziness win the war. Win the small battles.
Keep listening, keep learning, and be kind to yourself.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.